Okay, good morning, everyone. We're officially on the record. My name is Judge Tamika West Bernard. I'm presiding over the preliminary calendar for this morning. I am officially calling the state of Georgia versus Markevius Martin, specifically warrant number 2022 CW 54781, possession of a firearm by a felony. By a felon. Second warrant number is 2022 CW 54782. Second charge of possession of a firearm by a felon. Third warrant number is 2022 CW 54787 for the charge of murder. Fourth warrant number is 2022 CW 54791 for the charge of aggravated assault. It's my understanding that the state is represented by ADA McDowell, Travis McDowell, and the defendant, Mr. Martin, is represented by attorney David Jones. Are you ready to proceed, ADA McDowell?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, please proceed.
Your Honor, this time the state would call Michael Swanda. Will you raise your right hand, please?
Yes.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Officer Swanda, how's my volume? Are you able to hear me clearly?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Okay. Will you state and spell your name for the record, please?
Sure. Michael Swanda, MichaelSwanda.
And where are you employed?
Clayton County Police Department.
How long have you been there?
Approximately 5 months now.
What did you do before that?
I was a police officer in Gwinnett County. I worked for the DEA as a special agent. I worked for DC Police. And
approximately how long have you been in law enforcement?
Approximately 15 years, sir.
All right. Will you describe for the court your current duties?
Yes, I'm a detective with major felony division, CID.
And were you in that capacity? The incident, the alleged incident that occurred on May 29th, 2019, have you had an opportunity to review that case?
Yes, I have.
How did you become familiar with it?
I was assigned the case by my Lieutenant Green, and I was able to review the case and review the set and circumstances of it.
And that case involved Markevius Martin?
Yes, it did.
Did it involve an incident that occurred at 5758 Georgia Highway 85 in Riverdale?
Yes, sir, it did.
What county is that located in?
Clayton County.
Now, what's the nature of the investigation?
It's a homicide investigation.
So let's walk through the investigation as you've done it now. When you first received the case, what did you do?
Yeah, my first initial thing I did is I actually went to the scene where it actually happened at on foot and reviewed the entire scene to observe where the murder took place. Then I was able to review the entire case file from all the previous detectives' investigative work. This included witness testimonies, videos of witnesses, and search warrants conducted.
So let's walk through the murder as you understood it took place. Around what time of day was this?
This is on May 29th, 2019 at approximately 0100 hours. It'll be 1 a.m.
Now, when law enforcement arrived on the scene, what did they observe?
Sure. On that day, they went to 5758 Riverdale Highway 58. There was a deceased, which was later identified as Bravian Canty. He's a 25-year-old male that he lived in 5758 Highway 85, Riverdale, Georgia. On scene, the officers recovered multiple 22 caliber shell casings that were recovered in front of building L210, which is approximately 50 yards northwest of building L210. There's also another cluster of 22 shell casings in front of there. The deceased was found shot in his lower back, additionally 20 yards away from that scene.
Were there any witnesses to the shooting?
Yes, there were. One in particular observed the entire recorded witness recording of that person.
And what did this person advise happened?
This person stated that they were 100% positive ID that Marcavius Martin shot the deceased, Braden Canty.
Did Mr. Martin have any nicknames?
Yes, apparently went by the nickname of Q.
Okay. So let's walk through how we connected Q to Marquavius Martin.
Okay, so Detective Teskey and Lewis, this is in 2019. Like I said, I'm going back on their file. They went to they were advised by Q and CJ. They were the two that possibly did the shooting at Department 10 Delta. Another secondary witness came forward by the name of Q, who lives at 10D, as a shooter. They both described the two males as Q that had tattoos on his face, and CJ had scars and blemishes on his face. On May 29, 2019, approximately 14:30 hours, Detective Moore, Hayward, and Thomas spoke with apartment complex maintenance personnel. After completing work order on 10D, the maintenance personnel confirmed that there were two males inside the apartment, one with tattoos on his face and one with scars and blemishes on his cheeks. The leasing confirmed that Charlene Crawford resided at 10D on the lease. So on May 29, 2019, at approximately 19:40 hours, Detective Teskey obtained a search warrant for the address at 5758 Highway 85, apartment 10D in Riverdale. On that same date, around 2100 hours, Clayton County Police executed the search warrant, and Detective Teskey, along with other lead detectives, they recovered a Ruger 9mm bullet, some unknown ammo. There was a gang letter, a social security card belonging to Marcavius Martin, a blue bandana, mail matter belonging to Charlene Crawford, mail matter belonging to Marcavius Martin, application for credit from Charlene Crawford showing Marcavius Martin as a reference dated August 26, 2018. And Detective Lewis advised that Crawford and Martin were in a relationship and both resided at that residence together. Detective Lewis was able to obtain a phone number for Crawford through the leasing office to contact her via phone. On May 30th, 2019, approximately 15:46 hours, Detective Lewis met with Charlene at the Clayton County Police Headquarters. He confronted her and asked if she knew Q, later is referred to as Marcavius Martin. Crawford stated that she didn't know Marcavius Martin. Detective Lewis explained that a search warrant was executed under Crawford's residence, and Marcavius Martin social security card and other identification was found at the residence. Detective Lewis asked to look at Crawford's phone, and he found a Yahoo email address with Marcavius on it. Crawford told Detective Lewis he did not read the name correctly and did not want to talk to the detective, and he didn't want her to look at her phone anymore. This is audio and visually recorded.
All right, Detective, let's unpack some of that.
Okay.
You mentioned gang, that there was a possible gang letter. Do you have any indication that this was a gang-related crime?
From witness statements, yes, they believe that the people in arguing that day were both involved in a gang.
Were they involved in, so was Mr. Martin and the deceased involved in different gangs or the same gang?
There's two different gangs, Crips and Gangsters Disciples, and they believe that the whole initial argument started over a female and asking for a cigarette.
Between rival gang members, essentially?
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about the search warrant of the phone. This incident occurred in 2019, and warrants weren't obtained until October 21st, 2022. What's the time disparity in that?
So apparently the initial detectives that were on the case, one left the department, one was transferred. And at that point, the investigation halted at that point, and I was later assigned the case to continue closing out the case at a later time, which wasn't until approximately September 2022.
Okay. Do you have an opportunity to do a background check on Mr. Martin?
I did.
Does he have any felonies?
Yes, I spoke extensively with his probation officer, and I reviewed reports from Gwinnett County and charges from DeKalb. He had felony convictions in Gwinnett for possession of a firearm by felon, and he had felony charges in DeKalb for robbery and use of a firearm.
Okay. So the person identified as Q, also known as Marquavius Martin, is he present on the Zoom call today?
Yes, he is.
Could you describe him by a piece of his clothing?
Sure, the red jumper suit with buttons in front and the medium length dreads.
And would you identify the name associated with the box that he's in?
It says Clayton County Jail.
Your Honor, may the record reflect the witnesses identified the defendant, Marquavius Martin.
Okay, so noted.
No, I don't have any further questions.
Okay. Attorney Jones, your witness.
Thank you, Judge. So Detective, from when did the initial investigation stop with the original detectives?
I can't provide the exact date on that. I'm not allowed to bring I don't have the file with me. I just have the probable cause with me today. I don't have the exact date it stopped. But I
Can
would
you give
assume
me an
it's
approximation?
somewhere in 2019. And
Okay. And then evidently nothing has been done in the years until you got the case, correct?
yes, sir.
Now, you indicated you interviewed witnesses. Who did you, or people interviewed witnesses and that they were in the file? Can you give me the names of the people that were interviewed?
I'm sorry, somebody was talking over you, sir.
And what I found out just
And just 1 minute. Okay. Thank you.
Can
Sir,
you
go
tell me
ahead.
the names of the witnesses?
Yes, the main witness that I observed video recording was Portia Curtis.
And where did she reside at that time that she was interviewed?
I don't have that information with me, sir.
Okay. Is Portia the individual you indicated viewed the entire incident?
Yes, she is.
And was she residing at that apartment or those apartments at that time?
I'm going from memory. I believe she resided somewhere in that complex. Yes.
Now, you indicated that you found, or it was found, 22 shells, a bunch of them in one location and then a bunch at another location. Tell me the exact location of the first ones you talked about.
I don't have that information with me today, sir.
Okay. How far away were the second set of 22 shells?
So it's at approximately 50 yards northwest of building L210.
And how many shell casings at the first and the original location?
I don't have the exact amount with me, sir.
Can you approximate?
I cannot.
How many shell casings found at the second location?
I don't know how that information with me.
Did the original detectives recover a weapon of any kind?
No, they did not.
Okay. And the search that you referred to was the search of Marquavius Martin's residence, correct?
Yes, it was believed to be so that he was not his residence, that he was living there with Charlene Crawford.
Now, I think you indicated that there was some ammunition found there.
Yes, they said there was some 9mm bullet and some other unknown ammo.
But no 22s.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Did any of the detectives ever question Mr. Martin?
I attempted to interview him at his probation office on, let's see, October 12th, 2022, where he just declined to make any statements to me.
Okay. Now, other than Portia Curtis, what other witnesses were there to this event?
That's the only one that we have the actual full testimony of that conducted the lineup photograph of him.
And was there any relationship between Portia and the decedent?
Not that I know of.
Okay. So nobody except Portia has been interviewed and recorded, correct?
That's correct.
Her statement, did she indicate?
Hold on, sir. I take that back. There's other witnesses, but she's the only one that we have at this point that said 100% identification of him. So there were others interviewed, yes.
And if I understand it correctly, it was a photo lineup that she entered up.
That's correct. Yes.
Did she indicate whether other people on the scene, well, if she knew other people on the scene?
She didn't indicate whether the other person she was sure of. The only person she could identify was Marquavius.
And again, you didn't, or you don't know if there's a relationship between the decedent and Portia, Miss Curtis.
I don't know.
Can you summarize what Miss Curtis said at the time?
I don't have that summary with me, so I don't want to speculate exactly what was said. But I know that she said that she saw the incident, she saw him shooting, and she said based on that, she was 100% sure that he's the one that shot her.
Or shot him?
I'm sorry, shot him, correct.
Did she indicate that there was more than one shooter?
There was indicated there's a possible second shooter, but I've not been able to identify that person this time.
Is it thought that that second person was affiliated with the decedent?
I don't know, sir. I don't know this time.
Okay. So what it boils down to, Detective, is you've got really just one witness. We don't know her relationship to the decedent or to anybody else that was on the scene.
It's correct.
Okay. Judge, that's all the questions I have at this time.
Okay, A.J. Medal, any redirect?
No redirect, Judge.
Okay. Any other witnesses?
No, Judge. State
Medal?
rest.
Okay. Attorney Jones, you have any witnesses?
I do not, Your Honor.
Okay, we're ready for closings. A.J. Medal?
Judge, state reserves closing.
Okay, Attorney Jones?
Judge, I would ask that the case be dismissed. One, we're talking about an incident that happened more than 3 years ago. The state, by its own admission, has one witness. They don't know anything about the witness, any relationship she might have had. We heard that there might have been a second shooter. We don't know whether that shooter was affiliated with Mr. Martin or with the decedent. So I would ask that the court dismiss the charge as lacking probable cause.
Okay, there are 4 charges. You're moving
All
for
of them.
dismissal, all 4?
All of them, Judge.
Okay. Thank you. A.J. Medal.
Yes, Your Honor. The standard here is probable cause. We have a witness that has stated they are at 100% sure that Marquavius Martin shot and killed the decedent. You also heard testimony that he was a convicted felon, which, and then testimony that he was also in possession of a firearm, which supports that charge. Judge, again, the standard is probable cause. Based on this evidence, we do think we've met that burden. We would ask that you bind it over to state court or to Superior Court.
Okay. Based on the evidence presented to the court today, I do find that there's sufficient probable cause to bind over all 4 charges against Mr. Martin to Superior Court of the Clayton County. And that will be the order of the court today. I would like to thank Attorney Jones for his presentation of the case, as well as A.J. Medal. Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. May I be excused?
Yes.